start again. Welcome, 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 everyone. My name is Christine McAlister, and I am here today to share with you how to hit 10K months using Facebook groups. But I am the interviewer today. I am the host. I am so excited to be bringing on my friend Barb, who is going to share her magic with us. So let's get Barb on camera.
Hi.
Hello. Happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday.
Yay. So excited to be with you. So some of you are new to me. Some of you are new to Barb. Some of you are new to both of us. I am Christine McAlister. I am the host of this group, and I am a business coach for high achievers who want to replace their income and quit their 9-to-5s and scale to 6 figures. This is my book, The Income Replacement Formula. That's me. Sorry, it's backwards. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the beautiful Barb. And also I'm going to let her say her last name because she has a fabulous accent. I don't want to mess it up. Barb is a certified business and confidence coach for coaches. She is the proud founder of Starland Coaching, which helps women step into their power, attract soulmate clients, and build a business that makes them shine. She is amazing. She is a good friend of mine, and through her unique coaching process, she's also helped clients from all over the world quit their jobs, hit 5-figure months, and sell out their programs with ease and flow. And guess what? That happens to be what we're talking about today. We are talking about how to hit 5-figure months using one of Barb's favorite tools, Facebook groups.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes, I love everybody saying hello. Please continue saying hi. We want to be able to say hi back. We want to know who's watching. And Barb, we have had so many questions and so much interest in this training. So I am really excited to start peppering you with questions.
Me too. I can talk Facebook groups all day long.
Yeah, this is perfect. Did I miss anything in your intro, my friend?
You are good. We're ready to rumble. Let's do
All
this.
right.
Thank you for having me.
Yay! Thanks for being here. So we all know why we're here. We're here to hit 10K months using Facebook groups. So Barb, first I want to know, why do you love Facebook groups and what results have you been able to achieve with them?
Ooh, I love that. Okay, so honestly, one of the reasons why I love Facebook groups the most is because they are free.
Can I get an
free.
amen?
I don't. Yeah.
Cheers you with my tea.
I mean, obviously, there's so many other things. Like, it's such a great way to market online in pajamas. You get to really like test out your offers and create funnels that really work without investing a ton of money. They're super easy. Like, once you find a strategy that works for you, they're so easy to maneuver. Like, I feel like at the very beginning, everyone looks at Facebook groups and it's like this ginormous like Mount Everest that they need to climb.
Yes.
And then once you get to the peak, you're like, oh, it was just like a tiny hill. It's not that bad, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. Yes, Linda. Free is good. I want to say hi to Kristen. Hi to Sherry. Hi, Ruth.
Hi,
Ann,
guys.
hi, Emma. Hi, Melissa. Beautiful. So tell me what results, I'm inviting you to brag here. What results have you been able to achieve using Facebook groups?
Honestly, 80% of my income comes from Facebook groups.
And this is why you're here.
I make a pretty good income if I do say so myself. It comes from other people's Facebook group, and it comes from my own Facebook group. But even from day one, when I didn't have my Facebook group,
yep.
I still was a pro at leveraging other people's community. You know, I've been able to sell out my one-on-one coaching programs over and over again. I actually have wait lists a lot of the times. I sell out my group coaching. I sell out my launches because of Facebook groups. Like, At this point in my business, I have other tactics, but they're nothing compared to the amount of effort that I put into Facebook groups.
Do you love that, ladies? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
80% of her income, even before she had her own Facebook group. And we're going to talk about and get into when to have your own, how to use your own, how to use others, all that stuff. But like, regardless of whether you have your own or not, this is what's possible for you. 80% of a very good income comes from using free Facebook groups. So no overhead, just leveraging your time, right?
Yeah.
So first I want to start out, or next, I want to go to like, what, you know, Facebook groups, you've mastered Facebook groups, obviously. What do you see people doing wrong? Because I'm sure we're all going to see ourselves in this and be like, oh my gosh, it's so true. Like, what do you see people just doing wrong? If we're here, we probably aren't making 80% of our income from Facebook groups. So why could that be?
So many things. Like, I see more people doing the wrong thing than the right thing. I think first and foremost, and this is like going back to basics in anything in business, you're not having fun. And you keep telling yourself the story of like, this sucks, this is really hard, there's so much noise out there, blah, 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 blah. That's like the first thing you're doing wrong.
Oh my gosh, so true.
And it's not to say that when you start out with a new strategy or a new tactic that it's not going to require a little bit of effort, a little bit of uncomfortability. But if you go into it with that mentality and that pressure of like, this doesn't work, I don't like it, it's not going to work for you.
Beautiful. So you have to find a way to make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a way to make it fun. And if you know me, you know I agree with that 100%. How can this be easy, light, and fun?
Exactly. I think the second thing that people do is they quit too soon. Meaning, oh, I heard that you have to do Facebook groups and I did it for a week and it didn't work, so I'm out. Like, peace out. And the reality is, again, just like with anything in your business, you have to give a new tactic and a new strategy enough time and enough of a container for it to grow. When you're first starting out, let's say you're starting out in other people's group, you need some time to build relationships, build a connection, get known, have Facebook be like, oh, okay, you're cool. Like, you're in the cool kid club. Now we're going to show you stuff a little bit more. That doesn't happen over a period of a week. So don't get discouraged.
How long does it take?
Honestly, sometimes it is that quick. Like, I actually just started working with a client. She booked 2 calls in her second week, but sometimes it's not. And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, if you're like in your second week of showing up in groups and you haven't booked a call, it's not that it's not working. It's just, it may take you a little bit longer, but it's going to work as long as you continue to work it,
Yep. Beautiful. Okay. I love that. Any other top mistakes you see people making?
Yes.
Of course.
Posting and running. It's kind of, I want to give an analogy here, but I don't know what to use. It's kind of, okay, so like if you have a handful of seeds, right? Like, you just like throw the seeds in the garden, like some of them eventually will grow, But if you were to like actually spend some time and like plot the seed and water it and, interact with it and just make sure that everything's okay and give it what it needs, you're going to get a lot more flowers from that batch of seeds, And it's the same thing with Facebook groups. If you just kind of like throw it there and then leave, it's not going to work, right? Because Facebook groups are a huge networking space. So like if you're posting something, you're not going back to your notifications, that's potential opportunities that you're missing. If you're posting something, you're not commenting on other people's stuff, people are not knowing who you are as much as they could. So when you're posting, you're not making that big of an impact, and therefore people are way less likely to take action when you want them to.
Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Both of us running Facebook groups, I'm sure we both see that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Do I have another one? Oh, I have one more, which is like super important. Not having a solid content strategy. if you are going to do Facebook groups, whether you decide to run your own, do others, or both, you need a solid content strategy. This will save you time. This will save you headaches. This will help you not overthink. This will help you stay consistent. Like, content is the key for mastering Facebook groups.
Amazing. And I know that this is something that you work on with your clients. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But can you give us like some high level tips to think about when we're thinking about content strategy to get us started?
Yeah. So I feel like one of the biggest things that most people get into it, like I just started working with a client and she's like, I am not good at writing. I don't know what to write. What should I post? What should I do? And I get that. Trust me. Like, I've been there too. But if you reverse engineer, everything is so much easier. Because now you know what your content is going to be about. So like one ninja like pro tip, it's like, don't just write content. Like, it's okay to take inspired actions and be like, oh, this would be really cool. But also think about like, okay, in 2 weeks, what do I want to do? I want to get people to opt into this. Let's say I want to get people to opt in to like my 10 health tips to lose weight. So you reverse engineer, right? Like, what are some things that my people need to know? How can I prime them? How can I start persuading them before I even promote that? So all my content, it's kind of like planting seeds before I even promote something.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's super helpful because you kind of don't have to be like, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Of course you're doing the right thing because you want to promote that. Yep. So that's exactly what you should be talking about.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Yeah, like asking questions around the subject, sharing personal stories around losing weight or whatever. You're going to get so many ideas just because you have the final result already in your mind.
I'm like, my mouth is hanging open. She's just delivering so much genius here. And I know like it takes forethought. It takes help from somebody like you because you're so good at this and I watch you do it. And that's just genius. Like, everybody needs to be thinking about that.
Thank you. You're going to make me blush.
Oh, well, you'll look fabulous.
Let's see. I have another ninja tip, which is repurpose your content, right? Trello, I know you were going to ask me about tools, and I'm just going to get a little ahead. Trello is my best friend. I used to use Google Docs, and I would just write my content there, but that was so messy. Like, so messy, because then I wouldn't know where my posts were, and I would have to read things, and it was just so time consuming. I transferred to Trello, which is a free app. We can post the link below when we're done. And what Trello does, it's kind of like you have like a board, like a cork board, and then you have like different cards on that board. And in each of those cards, you can post pieces of content. And then each board, you can have different boards. Each board could be a different thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I have seen your back end of that. Sounds like I've seen your butt. I've seen I've seen the back end of your strategy and how you use Trello, and it's genius. It's genius. And that's something that you work with your clients on too, right? Around when they develop content strategy.
Yeah, that's like the thing, like one of the biggest thing. It's like, we need to learn how to organize it so that, okay, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you couldn't get to your content this week or last month or whatever, you can go back to any of your boards and be like, okay, here we go. This is what we're using. These little things are what's going to make like Facebook groups easy.
Do you know, because go ahead.
When you're not constantly like, oh my God, I have to do things. I have to write content. I have to. And it's like, okay, I have to sometimes, but in other times when it doesn't happen, I have this like ninja ways of approaching it, you know?
I love it. And so how much time do you spend using Facebook groups, which generates 80% of your income?
This is such a hard question because I don't want to say what I do and then people be like, oh my God, that is so much. So I'm going to tell you guys what I do and how much time I spend. And then I'm going to tell you how I started. Okay. And how I built my way up to where I am today. It's not even that much. I mean, if you think about it, and 80% of my income comes from Facebook groups, I
One
would spend,
strategy.
yeah, like I would spend 30 hours if I had to, but I really don't.
Yeah.
So I usually do 1 or 2 hours on Sunday. I sit down and write out my content of the week, which is super easy because, like I teach in my content intensive, I have 3 months worth of content ideas at all times. So it's not like I'm sitting from scratch and I have like this blank canvas and I'm like, what am I writing about today? It's more of like, all right, let's look at my ideas and then let's just expand on those. It makes it so easy. So 1 or 2 hours on Sunday, depending on how I'm feeling or how much I'm writing. And then during the week, when I was doing my own posting, I would spend about 30 minutes to an hour per day, just because I was so into like posting, answering, engaging, and all of that.
Yeah.
Now I have someone who does my posting, and I really like spend like 25 minutes just engaging, having fun, answering notifications and things like that. So if you add all that up, it's about 5 hours a week.
To generate 80% of a really good income. And, you know, obviously you don't have to share what that is, but I know if you said in your bio that, and this topic, that you can hit 5-figure months or 10K months, it's at least that. Otherwise you wouldn't be, you wouldn't be promising to be able to help people with this, because that is who you are. You're congruent like that, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We're talking about a 6-figure income plus, and 80% of that coming from 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week, you all. Like 5 hours a week. If you could have a 6-figure plus income doing one thing for 5 hours a week, would you do it?
Yeah. And if you're just starting out, you do not even need that much, right? Like, this is like the level that I've gotten to, like completely mastering 5 groups, 19 pieces of content every week, which is a lot, right? Like when I first started, I had like 5 pieces of content every week, rotating them around. It's just also a matter of like writing the right content, like structuring your post the right way, making sure that any sales post is actually compelling and attractive when you're speaking to the right people. Like sometimes quality, actually most of the time, quality over quantity is key.
Yep. 100%. I love it. Awesome. Okay, I want to transition a little bit and ask you, like, how do you know when it's time to, when the best thing to do is to use other people's Facebook groups? And how do you know when it's time to start your own?
I think there's a few things that you want to think about. First, like, what's your intention?
Okay.
Usually, if you're starting out and Facebook is your only platform, you're going to start out using other people's group.
Right.
Because even if you wanted to grow your own group, you have to go somewhere where your ideal clients are. So typically you start out there. Now, how do you know if you are going to expand into your own group or if you're going to completely drop other people's Facebook group? I think you have to think about a few things, which is number one, like strategically, does it make sense? Because there are pros and cons to starting your own group.
Totally.
It's amazing. It's like one of the best things I've ever done, you know, but for a long time I couldn't do it because I didn't have like the strategy to execute that in a easy, simple way. So it felt like I was climbing Mount Everest. So strategically, does it make sense, right? Like, do I want to lead my own community? Do I want to bring people here? Do I even want to like engage in my own group, or do I just want to focus on email marketing? You know, like,
yeah, totally.
You know, do I want to focus on using other people's Facebook groups to grow my Instagram? Like, what is your strategy? Like, why would you even want to grow a group? Is that going to be like your main hub or a supplement to like the community that you already have? And when you think about that, you can kind of go like, okay, so if this does make sense and where I want my business to go, am I willing? Like, think about like all the things that you're going to have to do. create content every week, engage, check notifications, maybe run a challenge here and there. Are you willing to do that? Is that something
Mm-hmm.
that you can add to
Mm-hmm.
your schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Because it does require a bit of effort to run your own community, you know,
Yep.
and it's not as bad as you may think. But if you go into it thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna create a group and put a whole bunch of people in there and like not show up for 2 months, your group is gonna be just not effective.
Right.
So there's no point of doing it. So I think that's how you should decide. Like, are you willing to do it and show up consistently for your people? Or are you just okay, like, having fun in other people's group?
Yep.
Which is totally okay, too. Like, you don't
Totally.
have to have your own group.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so wonderful to consider, because I think like what can happen is we forget that this is simply a tool. Like
Mm-hmm.
the reason that it's such a compelling tool is when it's done right, which are the things that Barb is teaching us today, then you can have massive results. But
Exactly.
if you don't have a strategy for it, and you don't have a solid content strategy, which are obviously two of the things you're great at, then it's going to feel like a time suck. It's going to be annoying. It's going to cause FOMO. It's going to feel like really frustrating, right? And I think we've all been there, whether it's with this strategy or another one. And we're like, why isn't it working? What am I missing? What am I doing wrong, right? Well, Barb's telling you potentially what you've been doing wrong and also how to fix it. But I think it's like, this is, I think you would agree with me, Barb, like this is what we really want you to know. It is a tool like anything else. If you are going to choose this tool, and I'm guessing you're like really excited about it because you're watching this, it's really important to do it right. It's not just a Band-Aid or a silver bullet, right? You got to do it right.
I have such a good analogy. I have a spinning bike downstairs.
Ooh.
That's a tool, right? It works wonders. I could have like Bahama Mama legs if I wanted to. However, if I don't walk myself downstairs and go on the bike for at least 25 minutes a day, nothing is going to happen.
Totally.
And if I do that once a week, like something's going to happen that's so small that I'm not going to be able to see the change. And I'm going to be like, this bike doesn't work. I wasted my money, blah, 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 blah.
Yes. And also, like, are you going for a little stroll, or are you like, not stroll? Obviously, it shows you how much I know about cycling. My husband's like an Iron Man. I should know these things, but I could try to block it out. But are you like, oh, I got my little pedal pushers, whatever? Or are you like, I'm a sweat, right?
Which I think it's okay. I think it's okay that everyone uses the bike different. I think that's one of the things I teach in everything. You have to find what works for you. Like, if what works for you is to do like 20 minutes like light, but that's what's going to help you stay consistent, then do your 20 minutes light. Like, I'd much rather you do that than nothing. And if you're like a sprinter, I have a client who's like a total sprinter. Like, she will go, 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 and then she'll need a rest. So if that's how you want to manage your Facebook group and content strategy, then we have to align it to your strengths and your weaknesses so that it works.
Yes. Your personality, passions, and preferences, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're getting so many comments. I feel like I have to take a hot second. Okay, so Sandy says, I'm so resonating with this. Lots of people saying hi, yay. Hi. Hi, everyone. Beata, yes, there will be a replay as long as you registered for this and put in your email. You will be getting the replay emailed to you this afternoon. So you're going to want to make sure that you have that, because then you'll have access to it. And it won't go anywhere. And let me see. They're loving the bike analogy. Well done. Yes. Hi, Maria. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Talina. Hi, Sarah. Yes. So, hi, Linda. So many of you here live with us. I'm so glad. And if you're watching this later on the replay, I am so glad about that. Because isn't Barb amazing? Isn't she amazing?
Please.
What a great way joy to spend a Friday morning. You all are geniuses for being here. Okay. We've talked about a little bit about how to decide when it's time to start your own group versus using other people's. Love your answer there. What tips or tricks have we not talked about yet that you could share with us about how to, you know what, I'm going to ask a different question first, and then we'll go into more specifics. It's been a long week, my friends, a long week. Okay, how do we actually make money from it? Like, whether we're using someone else's group or our own, like, what's the path? It's not like we're going in and being like, hey, donate to my thing, right? What's the process for making money from posting in Facebook groups?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question, but I am going to go back to what I was saying before, like, should you pick your own group or not?
Yes.
Just because I think I forgot to say something. It may be a little bit more work. And if you honestly look at it as, like, fun, it doesn't even feel like work at some point. But you, like, pros and cons, right? Like, you may have to show up a little bit more. You may have to get really freaking good at your content strategy. You may have to, like, learn how to, like, reignite and, like, re-engage your group. But also, it is your group. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Okay, so I forgot to say that, like, okay, it's going to take a little bit of work. But the other side of it is that you have full control.
Yep.
You can literally sell like 500 times a day if you wanted to, which I obviously don't recommend. But the point is that you can, right? Like, if you wanted to, you could.
Yeah.
And that's something that sometimes other people's Facebook groups, you're going to have to bend around the rules, figure out innovative ways. If you're like in an industry like relationship coaching or career coaching or like health coaching or whatever, some of these groups don't let you promote, which is totally fine. You can go around the rules, like ask my clients. But the point is, you have to get innovative and put in that extra step of like, okay, how do I leverage this networking community? So I wanted to add that in. How do we make money? You guys are going to be like, shut up, R. But honestly, sell. Like, step number one, sell. Shamelessly sell all the time. So many people who like take group programs with me or start like working with me, they're like, okay, I've been doing this and it doesn't work. And it's like, okay, so let's go back to your content. Like, how often do you sell? And it's like, well, I sold like last month, like I posted one thing. And I'm like, no. Like, no, you have, like, if this is going to be one of your main tactics, you have to sell. And selling is everything, right? Like, even your non-sales content is going to be selling. But what I mean here is like actually directing people to something. Like, whether it's a freebie that turns into a funnel, whether it's your own Facebook group where you're going to sell there, whether it's actually just selling your program, period. Like, it has to happen more consistently if you actually want to make money from Facebook groups.
Yeah. And I know that one of the things that you work on in your content intensive, which I think is genius, is like teaching the anatomy of a sales post, like all the different ways that you can sell and helping people determine which ones are the right ones for them, and actually like creating some sales posts that feel good, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because also something that's super important is being excited when you sell, right? So sometimes I'm reviewing client content and it's like, okay, so here's my program, buy it here. And it's like, no, girl, like, you have to get excited. You have to hit certain points. You have to really speak their language. Like, you have to structure the post in a way that makes sense and gets them wanting to click, right? Like, if your post is not exciting, it's not going to get the results that you want. So sell more. Don't be ashamed to do it. And then sell excitingly, write posts that actually stand out.
Right. And it, I would say, like, probably some of you are saying, well, I'm not a good writer. I don't have anything to say. Like, BS. Like, you're a good writer for your people, right? Your people are going to are going to think you are a good writer and like to follow what you have to say, but you have to say something, right?
I promise you that if you feel like you're not a good writer, I can get you through that hump.
Yes.
I am South American. I have grammar mistakes all the time. I have been told by teachers that I am going to fail at life. Like, I was not born to be a content creator. Let's just put it that way.
And you're great at it. Like, your stuff is really good.
Yeah, because you move. Well, thank you. That sounded super cocky. Like, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. No, own it, girl.
But I gotten good. Because I've gotten myself to believe that I can do it. And once you start believing that you can do it,
Yep.
It's like everything conspires so that you can learn the right technique or the right tool or the right tactic or the right structure. And then you practice it and practice it and practice it. And I promise you, like, I really do have a growth mindset. And even if you think you will never be able to write a good post, I know for a fact that if we can just change that to make you believe that you can do it, you will end up writing amazing posts.
Yes. When the mindset is strong, the strategy is simple, right?
Amen.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So in order to make money, you're providing interesting content that is convincing people that you're an expert, that is teaching on your thing, and you are occasionally making direct offers to something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Is that like the simple formula?
Yeah. Okay. So there's like a few more things I wanted to say. So yes, you are building credibility.
Yep.
You are becoming the expert in the groups that you're showing up in and in your own group. You are consistently in front of your people's face, which I know on your end, it feels like I am so annoying, but I promise you, you're not. Like,
no.
So many people are not seeing your stuff. Facebook is not showing it to everyone. And if you go to business school, you know that it takes way more than just one time. I didn't go to business school, but I read the business books. But it takes more than one time for someone to take action. You don't just drive through the highway and you're like, oh, look, I saw that ad, I'm going to call right away. That it's very, very unlikely. Unless you're like in desperate need and that ad like literally spoke to you and you're like, oh my God, my toilet overflew today. I'm going to call this person. It actually takes you repetition to make the sell.
Yes.
So even if people are seeing your stuff, they need to see it more than once for them to be like, oh, that's that chick that was posting about this last week. Let me check it out. You know?
Yes.
Yes.
And those of you who are feeling like annoying or awkward or whatever, that's a mindset issue. Barb's can help you with that as well. But it starts with what we were just talking about, getting excited about it, knowing how you're showing up, right? Knowing that you want to show up to help people and that you're not trying to steal thunder. You're trying to genuinely add value to a community, play within that community's rules. Because yes, other than Facebook technically owning this, whatever, because it's their platform, and it's so nice of them to give it to us for free. Like, let's have that frame rather than like, oh, Facebook, whatever. Thank God for Facebook. We're all here from all over the world. This is going to be my little rant because of Facebook. And this is a free tool. And nobody ever in the history of ever has had the opportunity to build a business the way all of us do with a free tool. So let's choose to be grateful instead of complaining about the algorithms and stuff, because there's never been a better time, and we're pioneers in this space and we're blazing a freaking trail. Okay. So Oregon Trail, if anybody else played that, blazing a trail, and there's no dysentery up in here. All right. So what I want to say, the other thing that I want to say about that is just to wrap that up. Like, yeah, we have some rules that we need to play within for Facebook, but it's a free tool. And your group, your rules. Your group, your rules if you have your own group. Same applies to these other people. You find a group you like to hang out in, and you play within their rules. Use Barb's, get with Barb to find out how you can get around them, right? Or be clever, still add value, don't break the rules, form your relationships. That's it.
And convert.
And convert.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you, Barb.
Preach it, sister. That was awesome. I'm like in awe of what you just said. It's so true. Okay, so back to how do we make money? Honestly, my favorite thing is buzz creation. You
Is
have
what?
to buzz creation, like
Okay.
zzz.
Okay. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Okay, got it.
Guys, you have to get so good at getting into your consumers' minds before you even sell, that when you are selling, they're like, oh my God, yes, 100%, this is the thing for me. That's not to say like I'm like, I don't know, like manipulating or whatever. It's like you are speaking so well to the people that need what you have, and you're priming them so well before you even sell something, that when they see your thing, they're like, I am ready to buy. So a big mistake I see people do that I didn't say it before, it's like, okay, I just started being on Facebook groups. I've introduced myself. I'm going to just put out my one-on-one program. You know, it would be so much more effective if you spend like a week handling all of the objections that, you know, may come from that one-on-one program. If you spend a week talking about what happens if you were to work with a coach or whatever. If you spent a week asking questions of like, what are you struggling with? You know, like, how do you think a coach would support you? So that you do market research, you understand who's interested in it, what they need. And when you're selling, not only have you built that relationship, but you've already been talking about things before that and creating buzz around it, that people are so much more likely to click and buy, you know?
Right. I love that. And so that convert piece that you mentioned, like, oh yeah, Christine, convert, right? Engage, great relationships. That could be, like you mentioned, that final piece to make money. That could be, if you have a list already, which I know a lot of you don't, and some of you do, if you have a list already, offering your opt-in to bring them into a funnel. If you don't have a list, it could be inviting people to a call, right? When the time is right. And then your job is to handle that selling in a way that converts, right? Which is obviously something that you help people with as well, right?
Yeah, because you're priming them. Like, also, like, on top of that, you're also, it's like, I love analogies. It's like if you have a piece of steak, which I barely eat steak, but and you put it on the grill, it's not going to be as good as if you spend some time like seasoning it, you know, putting some spices on it. And that's kind of like what creating buzz does, so that when you do get people to the phone, when you do get people into your list, they're so much more primed already, and it would be so much of a smoother process, you know?
They already know, like, and trust you. Create that spicy South American. Love it. So tell us, we have so many questions, and I want to take a couple of them, but I want to ask one more of my own, because I can.
Because it's your group.
Yeah, because it's my group, my rules. Tell us what's the difference between using other people's groups to generate income and using your own group? Like, how are the strategies different?
Okay, so with other people's groups, you are going to have more restrictions.
Right.
Okay, so for example, if you're at a level where launching is a thing, like actually strategically launching in your business is a thing, and you're in other people's group, there's going to be blocks that come with that. Like, you can only promote on Wednesdays, or you can only promote 2 times and add value, or like you can't do live streams here. Also, you want to keep in mind, like, you're not the leader of the community, so typically you're not the spotlight there, so it will require more effort when it comes to that, you know? So it's such like an even exchange with this of like other people's group and your group, because it's like, okay, less effort to just be in other people's group, but then when you're like launching or doing something big, it's like a little bit more effort, you know? And then here it's like a little bit more effort to grow it, but then when you're launching, it's like so much freedom. So it's always such like an even thing, and that's why you really need to think about like, what's your intention and what do you really want for your business, you know?
Oh my gosh, I love this. And honestly, all the way that Barb does this is like so doable. If you have been a part of my community, you know that I'm in my 3rd trimester of a pregnancy, and I'm sitting here thinking like, This would be something I could totally do with a baby on the boob. Do you know what I mean? Like the way Barb's teaches it, not to be crude, but we have to joke about that. It's a high risk, high anxiety pregnancy. So, laughter is one of the ways I manage it. But like, seriously, this is something that you could do from your phone while you're doing other stuff, like but the content strategy and the strategy of why you're doing it is what has to be in place before you can run it like that. With a baby in one hand, a phone in the other, whatever, right? Or whatever your version of your life is going to look like this summer, probably more fun than mine, let's face it. But I do like tiny babies, so it makes all the sleep deprivation worth it. But seriously, like knowing that like once this is set up and you have the system and you have the box to play within, like that enables you to do this strategy with fun and ease. Right? From wherever you are in the world, from whatever you're doing, as long as you have an internet connection.
And you rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Nick hates when I say that. He's like, that makes no sense. But like you rinse and repeat. Like
he's a dude. He doesn't have long hair that he like reads.
He did have long hair.
Oh, he did?
Before.
He didn't wash it, apparently.
No, but seriously, like once you get it, you get it. There's no unlearning it. Like once you're like, oh, I've mastered content, there's no way that you can go back to like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. It's so time consuming. You can't. Like once you learn it, you can just take it and do it over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So I have to know, how do you teach people this? Like, how do you help them develop a strong strategy for content to help them decide why and how they're going to use Facebook groups? And then we also had a question about like, how do you decide what to name your group? How do you decide like the basics of actually running a group? Like, do you teach that as well? And if so, how?
So good. So besides one-on-one coaching, which I am booked out right now, sorry. I have
not sorry.
Sorry.
I have
like
a Canadian, eh?
It's a content intensive. So like we meet for 2 hours, and what you and I do is completely put in place your unique custom tailored content strategy, meaning we are going to create 3 months worth of content ideas, expand on some posts. I'm going to teach you exactly like the anatomy of like sales posts, value posts, and all that good stuff. I'll teach you how to navigate Trello. We'll get your first Trello board set up so that you have content ready to go. And on top of like the strategic, let's create your content strategy, we're also going to move through like all the fears, doubts, and insecurities. Because I don't know if we mentioned this, I am a business and confidence coach. So I really don't think that you can have strategy without confidence, right? Like there's no point of me being like, okay, we're going to set all of this up. Here you go. I'm throwing you to the wolves without us like really solidifying like that new, like, okay, I can do this. I believe in this, this is going to work. Like all the fears, doubts, and insecurities need to be faded away so that the strategy that we put in place for your business, for your group, for other people's group actually gets executed and you actually see results.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And you do all of this in 2 hours?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to come in and go, like, I need Barb to help me figure out if I'm going to start my Facebook group or if I'm just going to use other people's groups or both. And if I'm going to start my Facebook group, like, what are my first steps for doing that, for getting people to join, I know we have a lot of questions about, like, how to get people to engage, how to get people to show up so you're not just, like, shouting into the void, how to convert, right? And then, like, the actual content. Walk away with the actual content of like, here is literally what I'm going to go post today and for the next 90 days.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing we do, it's like, I mean, and I've done this content intensive with so many entrepreneurs, like some of them don't even use Facebook groups. So like the first thing is like, what's your business? What are you going to use content for? How is this going to be beneficial? Are you going to use your group? Are you not going to use your group? Should you do it this way? Should you use Instagram? Should we create content for this? Like we really dive deep into like, where is this intensive going based on your business and where you want to go and what you want to create. And then from that, after we determine like what the best strategy would be, what the best platform would be, what the best way to like re-engage and reignite would be, Then we go into like, all right, let's do it. Let's get our hands dirty, and we dive right in, and you come out of the intensive with a complete content strategy that you can rinse and repeat every single time.
Oh my gosh, it's genius. And all of that in 2 freaking hours.
Yeah. And then you have support even after that. Like, again, I don't throw you to the wolves. That's not my style. After that, you show up, you start like putting your content out there. We'll tweak things together, you know, like you have support after that, so that we're making sure that things are actually working. So that we're making sure that, like, for example, if you're using content to grow your own group, is it actually growing your own group? If not, what needs to be tweaked, you know, or what needs to be changed and things like that. So it's not like, here you go, we're done, you're on your own. It's like, we're done and we're just getting started type of thing.
Oh my gosh, we're done and not, right? And then you have support afterward from Barb to carry it out and like come to her with questions and stuff. I love this so much. I'm dropping the link for the content intensive right here. Like, I cannot recommend Barb and this offer more highly. Like, I know her, I've known her for a long time, we're biz besties, and this is, I mean, you heard her, 80% of her income comes from this strategy, and she can teach it to you in 2 hours.
And you've seen my content strategy. I've taken you behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. The back end, right? So like that firm back end, you're honing on the bike. That's what they call a callback. This is like, this is the basis of everything. This is collateral in your business. This is stuff you can repurpose. This is how your business gets to feel more fun and produce more income and impact. And you can learn it in 2 freaking hours. Like I can't even.
And here's also the thing. I mean, I know most of you are probably here because you want to leverage Facebook groups and make money from them. But even if Facebook groups were not your only strategy, if you are ready to run a successful online business, content is an inevitable part of it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you pick. It doesn't matter what you go. Like, content, it is like the foundation of your business from every angle.
I love that. Talina says, trust me, it works. Barb's is amazing.
Thank you.
I love that. So what I want to do with our last few minutes here, obviously this is a massive topic. Obviously there are a ton of questions around it. And so I want to take a couple of questions, some of which have been asked like multiple times before we did this. And so we recorded them. And then I obviously want to take some from you all live. And I also want to take questions about Barb's content intensive to help you figure out whether it's the next right step for you, because I seriously, like, I see a lot of offers, I know a lot of people. This is such a good value, you all. And I would say just think about like how many potential clients it could give you, how much anxiety it's going to relieve. It's a massive opportunity for like proven ROI. So check it out. Book a call with her to talk about it. Like, she could not be making it easier for you all to have this foundational piece of your business to move toward income replacement, 6 figures, those 5-figure months that we're talking about. Freaking great offer.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, guys, honestly, like, if you want to book a call and just chat about it and see if the right thing for you, like, don't be scared. I'm not, like, if anyone knows me, I am not a pushy seller. Like, if I think I could help you, I could help you. If I don't, I'll send you to the right person. And if you're not unsure, you're unsure, we'll talk later. So, like, even if you just have questions about it, like, just hop on a call, we'll have a conversation, and then you get to decide. Like, I have no issue doing that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why we're one of the many reasons why we're friends, because we're so aligned to that. And like, if you've been hanging out here for a while, you know that we totally share that value of like, it's so important to develop the confidence, overcome the self-doubt and fear, as well as having the simple strategies, right? Simple strategies and self-belief. And Barb's framework and the way that she works with her clients, it totally reflects that too. So
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So What, let's see, I'm going to look for questions that we got asked before. And then I also know that there are some that have been asked on this time. How do I get people to join my group?
Ooh, easy. You ask. Like super easy. First of all, you have to find where your ideal clients are hiding. Okay, typically, if we're focusing on Facebook groups, you have to find Facebook groups where your ideal clients are hanging out, that other people have built an audience, like especially when you're starting out. Later on, when you grow your group, Facebook is going to do the work for you, and it's going to start showing your group to other people. So it gets easier. And also when people see that there's people, there's more credibility, so it's easier for people to join. But at the very beginning, you have to ask. And you have to get innovative with it, right? And you have to be willing to do what it takes to get people into your community. So if you're like hanging out in groups that don't allow promotion, you have to build those relationships. And once you build those relationships, like you actually have that connection there, you have to personally invite people in. Like, hey, I love talking about this. You know, I don't mean to be like over invasive, but I feel like this would be a good fit for you because this and that, and I love to have you. So you're gonna have to do that, and it's gonna feel a little uncomfortable at first, but eventually you're gonna be like, this has been the best thing I've ever done because I have this group of people who I've connected with, like all having fun in my group. If you're in groups where you're openly allowed to promote, you have to ask on your posts. You have to ask on the live streams that you're doing there. You have to tell people like, I have this group, come over here. But one of the things I always say is read the rules, and then based on the rules, either follow them or go around them. You know, but just make sure that you're following the rules. Every group is different. And every group is going to allow different things. But even if you're not allowed to promote in groups, actually a lot of people at the very beginning, to me, came from individuals that were in groups where I was not allowed to promote.
Me too. Personal invitation.
Yeah, and they've been members for years, like still active members, you know, so have no fear.
100%. At what point in your business do you think it's a good idea to start a group? I know we talked a little bit about this, so we have a question from Arch about, is it a good idea to start a group in order to know your audience so that then you can build something that they would be interested in buying? So basically, like, is it a good idea to start a group for market research?
I don't think so. And
here's
why. Because I think it's going to be too much work, like too much unnecessary work. I'm all about like making it easy. And I think the act of growing your group, like I said, even at the beginning stages, may require a little bit of effort. And just to do market research, you don't need to put in that much effort. So I would get clear first, right? Like, who do I serve? And you don't have to have like the ideal client avatar that has all the perfect.
Her name is Barb, and her picture is.
And she likes red lipstick, and she pees at 2:00. Like, no, you don't need that. But you need to have an idea. Okay, like I want to work with moms and I want to help them with this. Once you have that, you can start growing your group because your group is going to evolve. Like even now when I'm crystal clear of my audience and what I do and my offers, my group is always evolving. So that's okay. I just think you want to be clear so that you're bringing in the right people from the beginning.
It's a community, right? So the people in it are going to change. Your offers may change at some point, although we definitely recommend having like a few key core ones, right? But like, I agree. I think market research is best done in other groups. If you're wanting to use Facebook groups, right?
Yeah.
Because then when you bring in people, you unite them around one particular thing. And so I think this is a perfect time to share your group, Barb, because if everyone is not in there, you need to be, and here is the link to it. It's called the Land of New Coaches. Get your Buddha in there. Get your back end in there.
I'm like a plane steward. Like, make a right, exit the doors, and go to the group.
Thank you. Bye-bye. No, but seriously, like now or right after this?
Definitely right after this.
Okay.
Stick with us for a little bit.
Okay, fine. All right. The Land of New Coaches. All right, perfect. Dropping that in the comments. Awesome. So I would say, We've talked about a lot of different things here. One of the things that's come up recently that I think you could maybe address for us is like, do you recommend, now Facebook is making it possible to post from your business, like join groups as a business. Do you recommend doing that, or do you recommend using your name?
It depends on your strategy. That's a good question. It depends on your strategy. Like, for example, my strategy, I use my business page as a business card. So meaning like I have it there, I update it, I keep it pretty, because every once in a while I'm going to hand out a business card. But rarely ever is it like the main thing. So no, I'm not going to post from my page, because then people are going to get to know my page. And it's not like the thing that's building momentum for me. If you are like, I have a friend who's really into engaging your page and she's amazing at it. If you're like her, definitely use your page, right? Like if you're like, Facebook pages are not dead and I work really hard to maintain mine, fine, go ahead and use your page. Because honestly, guys, sometimes you're going to post something and you're going to get like no likes, totally normal part of the process. But people will click on your name or on your page and see your stuff, and you will never know about it. You know, so you want to think about like, where do you want to direct people? Do you want them to look at your profile, add you as friends, or see that you have a Facebook group and see your Facebook banner? Is that your strategy? Or do you want them to click on your page because that's your thing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love that answer so much. It depends. And also there's a strategic reason. It depends. Right? So I think that another question that we have that we've gotten a lot is like, how do we motivate people to take action using, you know, that leads to the sale?
Okay, so when you are posting and getting visible, how do we get them to take action? I always like to ask this when people ask me that question, where it's like, what have you done to get them to take action? And that's so you can get like a fresh memory of like how much you've done and how much you haven't done. Because you may be wondering that, like your mind may be like, oh my God, what do I need to do for people to take action? But in reality, maybe you just have to ask a little bit more, you know? Maybe you just have to sell more than once a month, you know? So it really depends on the stage that you're in. If you're in a stage where you're not really asking, you're not really selling, you're not really telling people to take action, I would say your step is to do that more. If you're at a stage where you're already doing that and you're consistently asking people to take action, I would say we need to look at your message a little bit. Like, are you talking to the right people? Are you using the right language? Are you even in the right groups? Is your content strategy like overwhelming people? Do we need to take it down a notch? Is it not enough? Do we need to put it up a notch? So I would say at that point, it's just like taking a step back so we can see the whole elephant. And see like what's not working and tweak that. Beautiful.
And I think the last question that I am gonna take/ask is what is your strategy or recommendation for a good ratio between providing straight value and making an offer?
That's a good one. So, okay, other people's group and your group. In my group, I probably ask people to take action every single day. I rotate it around though. Like maybe one day I ask them to answer a question. Maybe the next day I ask them to opt in for a freebie. Maybe the next day I tell them to join your training. Maybe the next day I promote my one-on-one or whatever I'm promoting at that point. But in my group, I promote every day in some shape or form. In other people's group, I want to be a little bit more polite. So I usually do 3 or 4 value posts. And it's not that it's unpolite. It's just, it's not unpolite to the people, it's unpolite to the host, you know?
Exactly, because it's their group.
Yeah, exactly. So I do like 3 or 4 value posts, and then I do a promo. So in each group, I'm promoting at least 2 times. I do 2 or 3 times in groups.
A week.
But in between, I am adding value, I'm engaging and answering questions and being a good member of the group.
Yeah, right. You're not dropping and running. You are actually helping, cheering other people on, being friends with people, right? I love that. Like it's an actual community as opposed to a cheesy place to go sell your stuff and you're only there for yourself.
And especially if you're not going to have your own group and you're just using other people's group, treat it as your community. Not like you're going to take over. It's not like I'm going to conquer this group, but like treat it as your community in the sense that you care about it as much and you're going to see more results. Like, especially if that's the only thing that you're doing, which is utilizing other people's groups. Help others, answer questions, you know, like people's stuff, motivate others, teach a little bit more, add value, add inspiration, ask questions yourself, because that's the only strategy that you're using. So you definitely want to be like a star member in their groups.
Yeah, I love that. Barb, this has been genius. We could talk about it all day.
Told ya.
But, yeah, exactly. And I so appreciate you just showing up and answering so many questions, giving so much information. And I know that those of you who want to have Barb help you implement this and or the other right strategies for your business are going to adore her content intensive. So check it out. Seriously, I cannot recommend her and working with her highly enough. And if you want to win and you want this strategy to be 80%, to drive 80% of your sales, then get on the phone with this lovely lady. If you got questions, she'll answer them for you. She'll tell you if it's right for you or not. Don't make any assumptions. If you're like, this was awesome, but I don't think it's for me, talk to her, right? Like, and Barb, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun as always. And guys, if we didn't get to your questions, don't worry. I'm going to come back after some client calls and answer them all. So if you still have questions and you're like, but you didn't answer mine, I promise you I will be back and I will give you a thorough response and make sure that we supported you the way that you needed.
Because that's who you are.
Thank you.
Love you, my friend. Thank you so much. I hope it's sunny there. Barb lives in Florida. Lucky like South Florida. And so enjoy the sunny spring day. And you'll be back later today answering more questions. Everyone's saying they loved it.
Love you guys. Thank you for being here.
Have an awesome rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
Bye.